Here's Brody Brazil.
The voicemail line is always open for you 24/7 at 8334-BRODY. If you've got a question or a comment or a compliment or even a critique, I literally listen to every single message, and then I get to play back and respond to the very best ones.
Hey, Brody. This is Cullen calling from Key Largo, Florida.
All right.
So my question kind of pertains around the Miami Marlins. With the Rays situation somewhat settled and the A's looking somewhat settled, one of my biggest fears is some of the talk that's been around about the Marlins potentially leaving Miami. I mean, I think the city loves them, but, you know, one of our biggest issues is just getting butts in seats.
That's right.
Which I feel like it was more of a Marlins problem. Baseball, they don't want them to leave. When we have the World Series Classic, or sorry, the World thing, or whenever
World Baseball Classic,
all of the teams from Central and Latin America come to Miami to play those games,
right,
the stadium packs out. So
right.
I don't think the MLB necessarily wants them to leave, but how can the Marlins really just, you know, kind of build more of a culture there?
Yeah.
I mean, is it really just as simple as winning? If I'm not sure, thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Hey, Cullen, I appreciate the call, and I wish I had the simple single answer to like what fixes the Miami Marlins. I think there's so many different things going on, but I also agree, I'm not sure that Major League Baseball wants that team to be departing the market. I think they want two teams in Florida, and to your point, look how hard baseball even kind of fought for Tampa Bay and St. Pete to keep the Rays in that market. Commissioner Rob Manfred made trips to Florida just to kind of try and smooth things over and make sure that they weren't leaving the state, maybe going to Orlando, but ultimately here in the end, it looks like they're going to stay in the Tampa Bay region. So let's talk about the Miami Marlins as kind of a study. Let's diagnose the Marlins here. They've got so many things going for them, to your point. Large demographics in a big area like Miami, geographically where it's located, the population, everything seems as it should. Like these are things Major League Baseball would desire in a market. They've got a relatively new stadium. Is it a little bit more than 10 years old? I think early 2010s is when that ballpark was built. They've had previous success. I know they were an expansion team, but even since then, they've won 2 World Series, 97 and 2003, and also proven market interest. And I agree, Colin, to your point about the World Baseball Classic. Like when that tournament shows up and the stands are full, it's like, wow, baseball really works here in Miami. So they've checked all the boxes, all the big boxes of what's working and what should be working for baseball in Miami. So why isn't it working? From a success standpoint, the Marlins don't win. Their attendance is super low. There's a lot of bad-mouthing of this franchise, a lot of turnover for this franchise. Let's go through this. Poor attendance. That could simply be a product of not winning, and maybe the product of not winning starts with the trade and turnover history, whether it's managers or general managers or players that they don't retain. They've almost kind of become a team in a bigger market than like what the Oakland A's were, and the A's had the San Francisco Giants essentially in the same market. But the Marlins are operating lately like they're kind of a farm team for other big league clubs. They have been, in the last 4 years, 26th in salary, 22nd in salary overall, 28th in Major League Baseball salary, and this past season, they were 30th overall in Major League Baseball payroll spending. And also imaging and branding and lack of communication. Like this is where they get all of those red X's right there. Here are the things that simply have not worked well for the Marlins. So I painted this picture first to tell you they've got so many things that are there, but man, these other things just are not going right for the franchise and could be different, could change, but as of right now, they haven't. So I want to circle back to the biggest part of the voicemail and the big question here. Because the, let's say, A's are settled and because the Rays look like they might be settled, and there's not another team that's threatening relocation lately, but we'll see how that all shakes out, like next baseball season or in the years following. The White Sox had talked about a little instability if they didn't get a new park. Obviously, the Rays were in a bunch of questionable spots and where they would ultimately land. Seems like they're settled. So maybe the Marlins are the new frontrunner for a threatening franchise like, hey, if we don't get what we want, we're about to leave. But they don't have a dated or aging ballpark. They don't have any problems or excuses they can point to. Some of these other teams, and even look at the White Sox, they'll say, well, this ballpark was built in the early 90s. It was already outdated when we built it. We want something new. We want real estate. Chicago, help us out. Let us build a ballpark on the South Loop. Let us get closer to the downtown core. Is it the 78, the name of that neighborhood? So the White Sox want something. The Marlins can't really ask for anything ballpark-wise. And I think that's the main reason of why there's literally minimal threat of them leaving. Or they can't bring that up and fight that fight. People will laugh that one off. There's nothing to it. I also think, and let me start with this, for many different reasons. Many reasons? Did I put many reasons? Let me change that. Hang on. Okay, fixed. For many reasons, geography included, I do not see Major League Baseball rushing the Marlins out of Miami. They see that market just like we do. They want that market, honestly, just like any good baseball fan should. So I don't see Major League Baseball trying to influence the Marlins out of Miami or not help. I think they want that team to stay in that market. But from the Marlins' perspective, right, so long as they're making any type of money, like so long as they're not in the red, if they're making money from their local TV deal or merchandise or tickets or concessions or sponsorship, or how about now, because they're one of these smaller spending teams, how about just flat out revenue sharing from Major League Baseball? And I'm not even talking about the luxury tax. I'm talking about overall revenue sharing. If they're not spending and they're getting money coming in, if they're the 30th payroll team in the big leagues and they're getting money come in and their team valuation is going up in the meantime, maybe they're just content. Yeah, you heard me. No, like maybe they're just fine and they don't care if they're losing. They're making money while losing. It's not the most money, but you know what? If you're going to start winning, that gets expensive. And then you have to spend more money to make more money. It's just easier. It's easier to chill and not win and still make money at the same time and be consistently losing and consistently making money. So maybe the Marlins aren't pushing, like they don't want to move. They don't want to leave. They don't need a new stadium. They need nothing. They just want to sit, relax, and watch the trends go up money-wise. I think if there was a stadium issue here, if this was an aging ballpark, if they were still playing at Joe Robbie Stadium, aka Hard Rock Stadium, which is impossible. They've fixed it up exclusively for football now, but hypothetically, if the Marlins and Dolphins were still sharing a same multi-purpose stadium in Miami, this would be a problem. This would be a team that's threatening relocation all the time, trying to get out. Miami, build us a new stadium. Florida, build us a new stadium. If you don't, we're going to Nashville. That's exactly how this would play out. The reason why the number one reason why the Marlins don't really have any type of threat in their back pocket is because they've already got a ballpark and there's really nothing else they could want. And maybe they're actually happy here. Fans aren't happy. Fans are looking at the Miami Marlins and saying, what are you doing? And we can't figure you out. But here's the other problem. The Marlins are actually a huge problem to Major League Baseball because they have now established themselves really as a low-spending team that's a have-not. And they are a team that's adding to MLB's issues when we talk about competitive imbalance and how much the Dodgers are spending. Well, that's the highest spending team. Here's a good look at the lowest spending team. If the Dodgers are ruining baseball, are the Marlins making it better? Tell me how they are. They're not. And so the Marlins are going to be one of the problem teams when it comes down to salary cap conversations, negotiations, arguments as we get into the creation of a new collective bargaining agreement between the league and its players. The Marlins are a have-not. They've established themselves as such, and that is bound to be a problem. So to answer the question, threat of them leaving? Not so much. Threat of them being a problem for Major League Baseball and its future operations and probably a work stoppage in 2027? Absolutely. That's what I have to think about this. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments section below. Also, thumbs up while you're down there. Really appreciate that. Helps me, this video, and this channel. And don't forget to subscribe. I would love to see you back here next time.